Actually live?
Not actually. We're just live. Not actually. There hasn't been a problem to get us live.
Get this thing popping.
Let's get into it.
All right, guys. I'm Chris Livingston, and this is
Aaron Horner.
All right. So today we're having an awesome conversation. As you guys, many of you may know, we are pushing really right now heavily for video. We recognize that 82% of people who are consuming content online, 82% of the content that actually consumed online is through video. We know how valuable it is to make sure that you are looking just as good, online as you are in someone's actual home. So we're pushing pretty heavily for that. So today we're talking a little about video. Mike is behind the camera right now, always crushing it. I've been told that I don't compliment him enough, so I want to tell you, Mike, you do a great job.
I've never said that, but thank you.
Truth be told, one time we actually went around the table and we all had to say something nice about Mike, and that was actually something true.
Yeah, that's something we did in a team meeting one day.
Yeah, that was cool. All right, so if you're catching this live, my voice is kind of going in and out right now. So my goal is to give you as much energy as I can right now on this call, and then probably stop talking for a day's time. So if you're catching this live, go ahead and push hashtag live in the chat. If you're catching this as a replay, go ahead and push hashtag replay. All right, so man, if I know who you are, I imagine majority of people know who you are as well. You produce some absolutely amazing content since you've been here at CGN. If you don't mind, kind of give me just, what would you say is like your role at CGN now, and kind of how it has evolved over the last year or so?
Okay, so I started off at CGN doing our YouTube content and podcast. So I was mainly marketing for CGN. Problem is, I didn't know anything about marketing at the time. But I knew a lot about video, and so that's just where we thought video should go, is in that area. So I was
doing the marketing part of the business, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what I did for almost 2 years, and then now I'm switched over to this video offer that we're doing for clients. So now I'm making like testimonial videos, FAQ videos, our process videos, stuff that you would see on like really nice websites and like really high-end companies have, like explainer videos, and I'm doing those videos for our contracting clients.
Gotcha. Okay, so thinking about what you just said, like a lot of our contractors are actually either starting video themselves, maybe have like an office admin or someone that's like in charge of social media doing video for them as well. And one of the things that, and I don't want to drive the answer to this question, but one of the things that I saw as valuable with your time here at CGN was that you were able to spend so much time close to Logan, close to me, close to the sales calls, and also spending a lot of time with our actual contractors, actually going out to different, Florida and things like that too. How did that impact, or, well, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, if I'm a contractor and I'm looking to hire somebody, what I've seen is most people just know how to do video, know how to do social media, but they don't understand the actual industry. So what would you say is a way to kind of bridge that gap, if you can kind of speak on it as well?
Like, it's really like a shame, I think. Like, there's so many people that are trained in videography, like I was, and like in college, videography is what I came out knowing, but I had absolutely no knowledge on how to use that for a business and how a business works. So I would say, like, my first year at CGN, we were like smaller then, and we were in that small office. So I was with Logan 24/7, well, not 24/7, 9 to 5, 5 days a week. And so, and he gave Mike and I a lot of like personal attention, and like would teach us the things he understands about business, and would ask us questions and that kind of thing. So through that, I kind of learned about business. And then this last year, I've done a lot more of like hands-on with our clients. I think TJ being here has made a big difference as well. Logan's brother, TJ, runs a pawn company in Charlotte, and I spent a lot of time shooting video with him and seeing our clients in person, whether that's like events in Florida or us just flying out and visiting. So it was like I learned business and then had to understand our clientele better. So that's kind of how I came to know it. What's your question as far as like?
Well, what I'm trying to say is, maybe it was organic in the way that you were sitting, right next to Logan. I know I would always come and say, hey, can I have my sales calls in here? Because for me, it was energy, right?
Yeah.
I could feed off you guys' energy by being around somebody else during my sales call. So I would ask to come in there, and you would hear it on speaker or hear me speaking directly to a customer and hearing their pain points, hearing the questions I was actually asking, hearing some of the kind of anecdotal medicine I was actually giving people for different problems they actually were dealing with as well. And I've seen like that has, in my opinion, has made it really easy because our relationship has to be close. Because the way I have always seen it is you produce videos that make my life easier to sell from.
Yeah.
And so, you know, everything from, hey, people's voicemails are messed up. Okay, great. Let's shoot a video. Now, I was happy to be able to take your direction from the video aspect of how can we actually tell this story. But I'm kind of...
So there's a point there that, like, as I'm doing this, like, there was a struggle when I first became a videographer for CGN, and I think we hear it happen with a lot of our contractors as well, where they get a videographer, and now they all of a sudden want them to start making content. And a lot of times, like, the videographer, it's like, I had to realize, like, Chris, you're talking to our clients. You understand them really well. My job is just to amplify what you're seeing and push that out to more people. And so that's what the video does. So your options are like, you can't expect the videographer to come up with, oh, we need to do this video, we need to do this video, we need to do this video for your clients, and have it be better than the ideas that you would come up with because you know your clients. And so it's like recognizing where the zones of genius are. That was a switch for me that I had to make.
How are you able to actually, so you created some awesome videos, right? So one of the videos that I'd say that probably has the biggest impact, well, right now it's probably in your wheelhouse. It's the how to create a YouTube channel. It's the how to actually edit video via iMovie. But some of the videos that I would say are some of like the more staple ones that I really appreciate are even like the reviews video, right? How do you create, because you were the star of that video in the sense of like you were narrating the entire conversation. It helps out myself, helps out Logan, helps out the team when we don't have to necessarily always be in front of the camera, and allow for you to be able to have your own creative genius, but you have to also understand like the problem, the solution as well to actually create the video. So how do you get to that point?
There's a lot of just like being in the seat. So like for that video specifically, I talked to you a lot about reviews because you talked to a lot of contractors and would hear from so many different people what their problems were. And I was like, okay, so let me kind of condense all that. I remember I had a conversation, Sheila
Dominguez.
Dominguez, yeah. Dominguez. I had like a long conversation with her about reviews because she had just gotten a ton, and I intended to use that for content. And I would ask Logan, and I would look at different other things. So it was like I was more or less just compiling a bunch of information from different sources and then trying to create a solution. And so then I think we had a long conversation in here about what people should do, and I kind of would like take your thoughts and write them out, and then I just took all that information, which wasn't really my information. I'm not a contractor, but after like looking at what the problem is long enough and just trying to problem solve for it, I put it all together just in a way that like made sense for people, I guess.
And I think that's cool because, all right, so I mean, you, for lack of a better word, manned or responsible for managing, you know, a 25,000 subscriber YouTube channel. But I remember there were times in which we were trying to make videos for YouTube, if that makes any sense, like for the algorithm or for subscribers' sake, right? Which is, I mean, it's a big responsibility to have that many subscribers that are kind of, you know, seeing the channel. But I think that the most impactful videos, and seem to also ones that actually have like the best kind of like traction, are the ones that were created not necessarily with YouTube in mind, but really from a education, problem-solving standpoint.
People can play, I don't want to say this wrong because there's validity to it, but you can play the SEO game, the search engine optimization game, and you can play the YouTube algorithm game, and you can play all these games if you want. You are every single time going to get beaten by somebody who has consistent quality content. The SEO and stuff is meant to be used as a tool. It's Like, so it's not that you should ignore it. It's just if that's the focus, and that's where we went for a while, is I thought like, okay, let me do all this keyword research, and then, okay, YouTube says we need to make a video on this. Like, YouTube's saying that. So now I'm just going to make whatever YouTube says
But
to make.
YouTube wants to create videos that are usable to its users. So
Correct.
It's like, you're like two different lenses you're looking from. Like, YouTube is wants the users, I guess, thoughts in mind or interests in mind. And if you're looking from a YouTube's interest in mind, it's really a mismatch from.
It's like, theoretically, in a perfect world, if YouTube had their way, it would be one and the same. I could ask YouTube what video they want me to make, and I could ask a client what they want me to make, and it would be the same answer. Maybe we'll get to that point, but it seems like when I switched my mindset of, okay, how can we get views on YouTube? What do we need to be doing? It's like, screw all that, dude. I'm just going to say, what problems do our people have right now? And what can I make that would be the most helpful for them? And here's the thing. It didn't result in more views because that wasn't the goal. So if you look at the channel and you're like, oh, well, this one, like the truck wrap video, I think it's a fun video. Like, it's cool, but is it helpful for people? Maybe. Like, it gets them kind of into the right world, but it doesn't have the same like hard-hitting content as the reviews video or these editing videos I've done.
Yeah, because for me, when I'm able to give someone a piece of content that's like, okay, gotcha. You're struggling right now from, you know that you need to have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Great. I have a resource that not only explains how to have a YouTube channel and gives you like checks that box, but also it's coming from our narrative, and we are the one educating you about it in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Additionally, when I can be able to send you over, like, without fail, maybe it hasn't happened every single time now, but there was a time period for probably 6 to 8 months that almost every single person that I called, and there was a voicemail that was there. It was our voicemail script.
Yeah.
Right. And so that just kind of shows the influence, because the thing is, if I know that it's a problem, I want to solve that problem for people. I remember the other day, I actually was looking through my phone, looking up a conversation I had with Bob Turner a while ago. And as I was scrolling through that conversation, I actually saw that he sent me a picture of me on his computer on that voicemail video.
Oh, yeah.
And he was actually writing out the actual script itself, and he utilizes that now. And I think it's silly to think that less than 100 people have that exact voicemail that we've been able to put out there. The same thing with pictures. We took that video actually in my home, because the problem was contractors knew they needed to take pictures. They saw the value in that.
Yeah.
But what was stopping them was not knowing how to take, in their minds, good quality pictures.
Right. Photos worth taking.
Yeah, photos that are worth taking, because they don't want to put out bad quality stuff. They're artists in some ways, and they're very prideful of the work they're putting out there. That's why they do great quality work, in the person's home. They don't want to put out less than quality photos that don't accurately represent the actual quality work they actually do. So that was a problem. So we had to cross that barrier and be able to give out content for that.
Yeah.
And so it is really cool how we've been able to do that, but it seems like it comes from a piece of, how can I educate and also solve problems for the customer as well? How do you marry that with also, I guess, what I need from a sales perspective as well?
I mean, a lot of times it's the same thing. Like, from what there are like specific questions that's like, oh, okay, CGN focused, like objections and that kind of thing. But rather than just using, because what I don't like doing is making a video that says, CGN's the answer, just pick CGN.
Yeah.
A lot of times, the goal is, let's just educate you on this. And I'm going to give you all of the information, unbiased, and I'm producing, let's make the company and make our offer good enough that way, when you have all the information,
we seem like the logical answer.
we're going to be the choice you pick. So to me, that's how it works with sales. It's like, okay, people are asking this question right now. Cool, let's find all the information we can get on that and give the information to them. And now we know all of that information as well, so let's actually solve that problem with our offer.
Yeah.
I hate trying to trick people. because it seems like so much of this like scammy marketing stuff, like it thinks people are dumb.
Yeah.
Like
It's like, oh, buy now. We only have 4 left.
right, like it's
What?
so annoying.
Yeah.
Like what do you think of your customers if you're doing stuff like that? And so you can trick somebody one time, and that's how you can think that it's working. Because, oh, I tricked this person, I tricked this person, I tricked this person, and it adds up. Well, you also are adding up the amount of people that you're saying, I'm never buying from them again. So to me, there's no point of conflict there. It's literally just Chris needs to help educate people. We're going to trust our fulfillment to be the right answer. And so let's just educate them. And if people stop choosing us, it's because we aren't fulfilling what they need.
Yeah.
And either that or we aren't educating them the right way.
Yeah. Love that. All right. So what I would love to do is this. I talk to people all the time about video. And what I oftentimes get is there's still like, just so you guys know, just be very transparent. We have an offer where we actually drive out to, or not drive.
One time we drove.
Yeah, one time we drove. We'll fly out to your actual space, no matter where you're at, and actually take the time to actually shoot quality video, what we call like the 6 pillar videos for your actual business. And in that we shoot, everything from, our unique story to, frequently asked questions,
testimonials, project profile, meet the team, and one other one.
If I think about it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Our process.
Our process.
So we shoot those videos for you because those videos are like your pillar videos that aren't really going to change, right? Your process from today to next week's not really going to change. Your story is not really going to change. The value that you actually provided that that homeowner and the problem they're able to solve is not going to change. And so those are the videos that you really need. Talking with you, if you get a videographer who doesn't necessarily even know your company just yet, or they're kind of coming off the street, this may take 5 to 6 months for them to actually to get to the space that actually can produce this video for you. And then once they even do know it, like it'd still be around a 4-month ordeal to actually produce, shoot, and kind of do the videos as well. If you don't have any kind of like, structure behind it, I guess.
Yeah, so we did our first videos for Cobus of 33 North Homes.
And the crazy enough thing is like, that's the one off of this offer. Like, we've been doing videos for like, for Tribble or doing it for, I can't think right now.
Premier Ponds.
Well, Premier Ponds, obviously, yes. I'm thinking right now of Greg. So Greg Dempsey and his company as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done videos for people like quite a bit of video for other contractors. But we realized what it is the same idea. Sometimes really what the website does for you, which is it elevates. Well, first of all, it has 2 things. It's got to have a function, right? So the website has to have a function. If that's pre-qualification, if that's building trust, if that's showing very clearly what services you provide, giving a process, all this stuff is great, right? But it needs to also elevate how you're actually seen online, or at least be accurate to what you actually are in the home. And the same thing that video can do for you as well, right? It needs to elevate how you're actually seen, but also has a function. Because if I can send out, hey, thanks for reaching out to us, so you're not blindsided by our process, would you be opposed from me sending over a video that kind of walks you through what it's like working with us?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hey, actually, I'm going to have Aaron come out to your space. He's going to do X, Y, and Z for you. Let me send over a video that kind of shows what that looks like.
Yeah.
Or I'm going through the website, I see that video. I'm going through the blog, I'm going through your content, I see that video, and it answers that same question for you. So we produce that kind of video, and we recognize that like our goal is we understand that you've got to buy into video. Like you have to. If in 8 months from now, 18 months from now, those who do not buy into video will be left behind.
It's like you don't have to buy into video, but you might as well not be online.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if word of mouth, then you better freaking do word of mouth, and it's not scalable is the thing, because you have to be there every single time. So video, it makes that word of mouth sale scalable, because you do it one time and now it can be sent out to other people. So it's yeah.
I mean, because the thing is, it's the idea of the hard work's really already been done. Like you said, you have to be able to magnify and amplify who gets to see it, right? The solving of the problem of, hey, right now, my business, I'm frustrated with my business because I feel as if I need to get work right now. how I've only gotten work previously has been word of mouth or maybe through Angie's List.
Yeah.
The solving of that scenario, that problem that I just described, I've done 1,000 times over the phone. 1,000 times. 1,000 times. I've also done this process of, hey, I'm doing some things right now, and what happens is I have these ebbs and flows. You know, I get work, and then all of a sudden, when I'm working really hard, I'm working really hard to find a job. I get the work, I'm booked out a little bit, and then I'm going back into the business to actually work, but I'm not doing the marketing or sales right now.
Yeah.
I'm having these ebbs and flows in the business. I've solved that problem. Like, not me, but the problem has been solved, right?
Yeah.
And I've diagnosed and given, like, a medicine to that problem at least 1,000 times. So what makes it easier is for me to be able to educate people on, hey, these are some of the problems that people normally deal with.
Yeah.
And if I'm able to do that and magnify that through education, it becomes a lot easier for you. So the hard work's already been done. The same thing for you, like you built a kitchen beforehand, and your customer had dealt with the issue of it being not functional, outdated, their family's growing. They're considering all the different pieces of, do I need to get permits or not? Is it be structural? Am I going to take away some walls that have more of like a structural component to it as well? What's the cost going to be? You've already done and answered those questions beforehand.
Yeah.
Package it in a way that you can make it scalable. You can give it to people, a lot more readily.
Yeah. I mean, the idea, like, everybody wants to make money while they're asleep, right? This is like another way of doing that thing. Like, you can be selling to people without knowing it, because you're just selling to a camera one time, and then that video is then selling to people without you even having to be there.
Yeah, and like I said, if you just really get in this idea, I always say this, and some people it really resonates with. I think some people will get it, but they don't necessarily really dive into it. But when I say to you that all the companies are out there, let's imagine us, CGN, let's imagine Jason Rector, contractor in Florida. Let's imagine Juan, who's a landscape contractor in California. Josh, who's in Seattle as a remodeler. When I tell all of them, hey, you're not a remodeler, you're not a landscaper. What you really are is a media company that just so happens to do remodeling, landscaping, building homes. I guess, what are your thoughts when you hear that? I guess, like, how can you elaborate on that? I mean, and I'm also okay with you telling me, hey, I don't agree with it.
I feel like if I was a contractor, that would be so hard. I think a lot of the ways, like, I like crafting videos. I don't like promoting videos. So I can,
Gotcha.
I mean, like, that's where my heart's at. Like, I like making the thing. And I think a lot of contractors have that same idea of, like, I love making the thing. Then to have to tell people about the thing, I don't care. I made the thing. It looks good. And so to hear that, like, I'm a media company, not the thing that I take so much pride in, like, I think I can't speak for contractors, but if you were to tell me that, like, hey, you don't make videos, you're like a marketing company, you promote these videos, like, I don't know, it would be a little bit discouraging. I get your point, and I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying it's a hard thing to believe, I guess.
And why is it? Because to be very candid with you, I believe that wholeheartedly it's true. Even if we want to believe it or not, it's true.
Yeah.
Because in order for your company to be able to produce video, I got to first sell it. And I can't sell anything if people don't know I actually exist, that I actually am doing this.
Yeah.
So it starts really from the root of all of this, of making sure people know that I solve this problem and this is how I solve it, so you can decide if it's a good fit for your specific situation.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be in that space. And I think that if anything, it maybe structures it in a way and formats it in a way where people are able to say, okay, gotcha. I can see why that makes sense. Okay, a media company would have a YouTube channel. A media company would be doing things like PR. A media company would be getting themselves out there.
Yeah.
And they got to get in front of people on a consistent basis. Because I think what happens is we have to realize that there's a difference between having a hobby, having a job, versus running a business.
Right. And yeah, it's like you have to start looking at it as like informing people is part of solving that problem you like to solve.
Yeah, it's like this. Oh, I don't like selling. Well, but you're in a business and you got to sell.
Yeah.
So it does not matter if you like it or not. it's a function in your business that you have to fulfill on for your company to actually thrive.
It's like part of the cost of being an entrepreneur.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
It would be really easy for someone to say, hey, I'm a baker, right? But just because you're a baker doesn't mean you should open up a bakery.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. So when I open up the bakery, I have to be able to, yes, I can still fulfill on making these awesome, amazing pastries, but I need to also have a way of thinking about how I'm going to sell it,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to do that consistently. And who's thought minded on doing that. And then also, I need to make sure that people are consistently going to the POS, which is like the point of sale, or the salesperson consistently as well. They need to know that this bakery exists. It has these type of pastries. This is what it's good for. This is why it tastes good. This is what you can do for catering wise. I need to make sure that someone actually is telling that story.
Yeah.
So I've got to make sure I'm putting it out there, because if I do not, that's where these ebbs and flows that happen in the business. If I ask people this all the time, and it's overwhelmingly yes, but I think that it's a lot more powerful than I think we give it credit for. I ask this question. I say, if everyone in your area knew the quality of work that you did and the kind of stuff that you're actually able to solve, what would they do for the business? And they always say, well, that would drive, I mean, it would be awesome for the business. I mean, I increase my revenue. Well, if you truly believe that, because I don't want you saying that just because I'm asking a question you feel like you have a certain answer to, but if you truly believe that, then it's gotta be, if I'm looking to grow my business and it's stopped and it's stagnant right now, then it should go back to the idea of making sure that more people know that I exist.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's making sure people who already know I exist know that I do this as well.
Yeah.
How if people don't know we do video and they've got this problem they're dealing with over and over and over again, it's my responsibility to make sure that they know that CGN exists, but do they know that we do video? That's my responsibility. And so, and that's a big piece of it. If you have past customers and you've done a bathroom for them, you've done a patio for them, well, you need to re-engage with them to just stay top of mind. So maybe they become a repeat customer, maybe they refer you out to somebody else, maybe they leave you a review, because all those things are media-esque, actually promoting who you actually are.
Yeah, it's like thinking back to the idea of like, hey, I'm just making my product and I'm happy with that. It's almost like, well, the more empathetic thing to do, the more like overall good thing to do for other people would be to market, because
if you believe in your product, right?
If you believe in your product, because is it about you just having a good time making this thing? And maybe it is, but it's like,
that's like self-fulfilling or
Right. And so if your actual motivation is to solve problems for people, now you say, well, I can't just do this. I have to tell people that their problem can be solved. And yes, that will put more money into the business, but the idea is I'm going to solve more problems for people. Yeah.
All right, so what I'll look for you to do, if while we still have time, is, because you're talking to people all the time, I'll bring up Lisa. From the conversation with Cobus and Lisa, it seems as if both of those people were kind of nervous wrecks, around cameras, right?
So
go ahead.
Cobus was great.
And Lisa was great too. Don't
oh yeah, everybody was great at everybody's awesome. Everybody's awesome. Cobus was comfortable.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you for saying that, because Lisa's gonna kick your butt.
Lisa was definitely uncomfortable, and then their project manager Josh was also very uncomfortable. I just wanted to clarify that. Cobus was comfortable. Go ahead.
No, okay, but you told me something one time, and what did she say? She said something about production. Like, what did she say? She'd never done a production like this before.
Yeah, like this level of production. Like, we've never had somebody come out and do this level of production for us or something like that.
So I know it can be kind of daunting for people, but I know because you've been doing this for some time. I mean, you do it with me, you do it with Logan, you do it with Allie, anybody else who's getting on camera. I mean, you do it with Greg.
Yeah.
You make us feel comfortable in front of the camera. What tips and tricks do you find yourself using on a regular basis to be able to kind of give that structure and make them feel more comfortable? Or does it just come down to the editing? I'm curious what's your thoughts on that?
So there are some things you can do. Like, you want it to be a fun environment. When filming should be fun, because you need to have that high energy to make the videos work. So it's like, that's the main thing, is creating a setting where people trust you, and like for me it was important. I told Logan, I said, Logan, whoever is standing behind the camera on the day of shooting, it can't be me if I'm not having conversations with the clients beforehand. And so we put it in the process that like I'm running those calls and I'm talking to them probably about 4 or 5 times minimum before we get to that point on camera, because now they have a better relationship with me. So there's that side of it. There's also like a lot of the videos we make are just asking them questions and saying, hey, the wording doesn't matter. We have some time, so let's do multiple takes of this if we need. But just talk to me. Just say it as if you're talking to me or one of your clients. And I'm just going to lead you with questions, and we'll have kind of these like main ideas that we need to get across in the video. And once we get those, we'll check them off. But there's no script. Some people do fine on scripts or like teleprompters, but
I feel very few people do that.
Very few people.
Because I think that when I've done it. I mean, when I've tried to speak about like something that's been like kind of given to me, it comes off. It's just so hard to do.
We made a video with Logan where we were trying to read off a script, and it was the most painful process I've ever done. It was literally a...
Do you remember the time we did the first video I think you ever created? We were at the old office.
Oh my gosh.
And we had to like read the script, put the script down, say it.
And it was also like 28 degrees outside. Yeah. That was the worst.
That was pretty bad.
And so I think that's what people have in their head when they're thinking of video, is they're thinking, I got to say this exactly right, and I got to get it, what the words on this page, and then say it to the camera, and I got to do it with the right intonation, and what do I do with my hands? You're just talking to people. And you do that every single day, so that's a good start. It's not about the exact words. When you tell something to a client, maybe you have like a few word tracks or something that you like, oh, it works out well when I phrase it this way, but you don't have a script going into the conversation.
Yeah.
That's how videos are.
And I think, so let me take this. It's the idea of going from being literal to literate. That's what I say for like on the sales situation, where it's like, I want all my sales personnel to be using a framework on their calls, especially in the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
Especially in the beginning, because I want them to have a structure. Now, the thing is this, the conversation is not going to go, they're not going to say, I say X, Y, and Z, and they're going to say A, B, and C. Like, that's not how it works. That's how I want it to work. I don't want them, I want them to be actively listening and understand how they actually can solve problems without reading off some script. Like, that's BS to me. So that same scenario kind of happens where it's like, yes, there is a structure behind it. Yes, like these questions will be asked. These questions are going to be, it's important for us to kind of dive into these pieces and layers of the conversation. But I'm becoming literate on the situation, and not just literal. At the very beginning of a conversation, someone called me last night, actually, a guy named Christian, and good on him. He actually sold a $100 and I think it was like $87,000 job. And what happened was, crazy enough, he hit me up and said, hey man, I got a question about sales. Will you hit me up? So obviously Olivia's in one arm. I call him real quick. Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? And what the issue was, there was a homeowner that he had been kind of going back and forth with that was getting, I think, 2 other quotes as well.
Okay.
And so, she said, hey, sorry for the radio silence, but I'm getting some other quotes, blah, blah, blah. And he said, hey, man, I feel like there's something you would tell me to say or do in this scenario. And I said, hey, man, I can, like, for sake of time, if you want me to just give you the fish, I can give it to you, but I would much rather take some time to actually teach you how to fish and with this as well.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, real quick, first things first, when someone sends you an email like that, the first thing you need to do is understand that my conversation is going to be infinitely better if we're out on the phone versus I'm emailing you back.
Yeah.
So I said, the first thing you need to do is you need to call them back. He said, well, I called them first time and they emailed me back. I'm like, look, man, I don't know if it's just my brain, but I don't care.
Yeah.
You tell me this all the time. Like, I don't see the world as other people see it. I think it's all man-made, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
I think in a situation of when someone calls or you call somebody, you simply at the next stage of like, hey man, if they do not answer the phone, what you're gonna do? They don't answer the phone, what you're gonna say is, hey, ma'am, this is me from X, Y, and Z company. Have I caught you at a bad time? Question mark, and just leave it out there.
Yeah.
Because they're not thinking it as, oh shoot, let me call this person back, which exactly happened. They called him back.
Yeah.
And that said, okay, great. Your conversation is, you're gonna go straight into the idea of anytime someone sends me a long email or sends me a message about something, I refuse to just assume that I read it the right way.
Yeah.
I always say, hey, I got your email. Walk me through what's going on. Hey, I got your message. Walk me through what's going on. Because I want to get them to explain it again, right? But this is not literal things that they're doing. This is literate. They understand, okay, why I'm doing certain pieces of this. Okay, gotcha. So when they've walked him through what was going on, it's okay, great. I'm hearing this. And I'm hearing also getting, other quotes from contractors. I'm curious, what are you hoping to, I guess, hear through your decision-making process that you haven't been able to get clarity on just yet?
Yeah.
They can talk to you about it. Maybe, it's about a price situation. Maybe they're just looking for someone else to do X, Y, and Z for them. And you can say, okay, great. If it's price, hey, if it all comes down to it and we're not the cheapest price, we're actually maybe even like more expensive than everybody else, is that going to be a deal breaker for you? Because now you can put it out there. If like, hey, they're not thinking about this off of just price. Maybe there's some value aspect that's also super important.
Yeah.
Maybe even asking the question, okay, hey, and I told him to say these exact words, and it sounds like he did because he got the job. But I said something along those lines of, hey, you're going to be spending over $150,000 on this project. This is quite a bit of money, right? And you're going to have somebody in and out of your house, and I totally get that. And I straight up, I wouldn't do that for anybody. I wouldn't spend that kind of money or have someone in and out of my house that I did not trust.
Yeah.
So for you, ma'am, what do I need to do for you to trust me? Let them solve that problem for you, because when you become literate at it, you understand that no matter how much I say how great I am, what all I can do, how long I've done it for, who else I've done it for as well, that does not resonate at all versus them telling you, well, it seems like you've done this for somebody else. It seems like you're this kind of quality person, or I'm looking for X, Y, and Z. This is important to me. And it sounds like you guys are, can do this as well. That is a total game changer. So not to go on a sales tangent, but I think you're right in how there's parallels from the video into the sales aspect, where there's value in having a structure. There's value in having a structure, and maybe even understanding a little bit deeper level why you do certain things. I know one of the cool things that you do is whenever you are having these conversations, you tell me or anybody else, hey, just repeat the question that was asked. So give me an example so we can kind of show what that looks like.
Like when we're doing the employee meet the team videos, we'll say like, what's your favorite part about working here?
Yeah, and so I could maybe go into my favorite part about working here, but what makes it a lot easier and better for the camera, better for the editing, better for the actual conversation is I say, hey, my favorite part about working at CGN is...
Yeah, it's a classic like answering in a complete sentence. Like that makes the video flow a lot better. So there's little tricks like that that help.
Yeah.
Because then you're kind of, you're giving them the start of the sentence, and usually after people get started talking, they know the few first words, then they can do it. It's just having that like moment of like, oh, I don't even know how to start. So that helps a lot too.
I love that. Love that.
And then the second part of that you asked earlier was like how much of it comes down to the editing. And a lot of it comes down to that as well. I just did a video for Chris Simmons yesterday. We did his process.
Chris Corney.
Oh, sorry. Chris Corney of Simmons Landscaping. Chris Corney yesterday, and it was for his process. And the video was half an hour long. And when I was done editing it, it was 4 minutes.
Dang.
And that's like, I think that one was a little more uncommon. Like we walked him through a bunch of things, but that's like not very uncommon to see. So then what people are going to see is they're going to see a 4-minute video of Chris, and I hide all of the cuts and I make all of it look like it was one fluid thing. And I cover it with B-roll, and I edit the audio just to make it seem fluid. And people are going to watch that and say, wow, Chris said all of that in 4 minutes. Nah, man. Chris said that after half an hour of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But you don't have to have that pressure to get it right the first time. That's kind of how the video process goes, and everybody's like that. Even Logan, who like, he calls himself One Take Logan because he does it in one take, but I still have to cut that stuff up too.
Talk about what I just added. What we just did with Logan.
Oh, yeah, like Logan does stuff where he will just repeat things at the end.
Let's bash Logan if it's what you
Yeah, he's not going to get this far in the video.
No, but I think you're right. Like, well, I'll let you continue talking on that.
Yeah, so it just basically like, I have not shot video for a single person in the world who has gotten it right on the first try a majority of the time. And so that leads me to believe that a majority of the videos that you watch and you see people looking good, it's not because they're like above you. They aren't above you. They're just a person like you are. They just have preparation and somebody behind the camera at the time of shooting and behind the computer at the time of editing to make them look as good as possible. So then when we have Lisa Breitenbach, who's like very unprepared, like very nervous, and
she feels unprepared.
She feels unprepared.
You're mean.
I know, dude. If Lisa watches this.
Yeah, but Lisa, okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Lisa was prepared for the day, and she even brought a second outfit. Like, she's one of the people who is extremely prepared, but extremely worried. And basically, through all of the stuff that we can do, we can make her seem confident on camera. Yeah. Because there's moments of confidence, and we just put those together.
Yeah, and then also she makes it fun and funny too. Her personality can come out with it as well.
Exactly.
And it's pretty cool. Two last things before we hop off. One, I would love for you to kind of sell the video that you created about like kind of doing iMovie video. I think it's super cool because I think the ability to be able to actually create your own video when it's all said and done from it is pretty amazing. Mike, if you can hear me, I don't know, I'm screaming at Mike.
Yeah, he's got the mic. He's running.
I apologize, guys, for yelling. Mike's in the other office, so I was about to yell at him. But Mike, do me a favor, man. Go ahead and actually post that video from actually creating content via iMovie.
And CapCut.
Yeah, and CapCut as well. And actually describe both of those and kind of like how they actually can utilize those videos, because those are great. Like, our goal, once again, is to educate and also give you guys tools to be able to use on your own. And so this is a great resource you actually created.
Yeah, okay, so my vision for this video marketing offer, it's great for the people who are paying for our service because we're coming out and doing it for them. But I think I want it to be great for everybody as a whole, like everybody in the industry. So what I'm going to be doing is part of our offer is education. And so what I'm trying to do is make the best resources I can that we're going to give to a paid client, but also have a video version for anybody to watch. And so that level of detail that we're going to give to a paid client, person to person, that's what I'm trying to replicate in these videos. I think that makes them a lot more useful for people. So far we've done 2 videos on editing. So if you want to do it yourself, it's basically I made videos showing you like it doesn't have to be scary. Like, there are things that I do that are much more complicated and you know, add extra flair. You don't need all of that to start. You really don't. And so I made a video on iMovie, which is a free application that you'll have. I think every iPhone comes with it at this point, and it's definitely on every Apple computer. I'm also noticing contractors are not Apple people.
What makes you say that?
I'm not saying like...
Well, I think they're iPhone people.
Yeah, I've just noticed there's a higher proportion of Samsung users who are contractors than like general population. I think it's because contractors are like buck the grain kind of people. But maybe...
You think so? I mean, I didn't see a lot of green messages, but I feel like I'll see a whole lot of blue ones too.
I'm just saying, like, it seems like in the world, 90% is Apple. In the contracting world, maybe it's like 70% is Apple.
Okay, I can move that.
Like, there's a weird... Anyways. So if you are a Samsung person, also if you're an Apple person and want a little bit more advanced software, there's one called CapCut. This one's also free. I made sure that both of these softwares were free and easy to use. I tested like 8 different softwares, and Logan was mad at me because all of last quarter I had to make like so many videos, I kept putting it off because I kept trying new softwares. I was like, nah, it's not gonna be this software. This one sucks. Like, I'm not gonna recommend this to people. But anyways, he was not happy about that. There's another one called CapCut. It's again, you can edit on your phone or on computer for free. They're both extremely easy to use. They're about probably half an hour each. And along with it, I put a link in the description of the video files I'm using, so you can edit along with me. My goal is to show you that like you can do it. Yeah, that's the idea. Is I'll give you exactly how I'm doing it, show you kind of the behind the scenes things, and then you can do it yourself. And now for a majority of the videos that you need to shoot, you could edit them yourself afterwards.
Do me a favor real quick, Mike. Some people hate this, but I feel like Facebook's has this feature for a reason. Mike, if you don't mind, just add everybody to this conversation, because I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Giving people that resource so that they can do it on their own, there's a sense of freedom that's there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it should be an obstacle. Like, it seems scary because it's different and it's foreign. But I'm telling you, man, like, I think so many videographers, if they were born 100 years ago, would be contractors. Like, I find myself, like, the way I love videos, I love working with wood projects as well. It's different medium, but it's the same thing, man. Like, it's all creation. So it's not as far of a gap as a lot of people think it is.
Gotcha, love that. All right, and then the second thing I wanted to, you've created some awesome videos here. My favorite videos are easily the videos that me and you create. Talk a little bit about that story. Do you know kind of, do you mind kind of sharing that dynamic and how you should always create the Facebook Lives and how we're actually happy to kind of bring some of those things back as well?
You want this to go somewhere, so you just do it.
No, go for it, man. Because I want to, straight up, man, what I want to do is I kind of want to sit back and listen, because in my mind, there's all this nostalgia behind like those videos, but I also would love to hear, like, is that real stuff that like I'm like, oh, we have this awesome bond because of these videos, or is it just, it's all in my head? So what kind of walk through the video portion of that?
I don't understand. Okay. If you guys have been in like the Facebook group for a while, and honestly, we should go back through and tag a bunch of those old videos, bring them back to the top of Common Sense Contracting.
Yeah, we should everybody those videos.
Yeah, yeah. We used to do promo videos for our Facebook Lives, basically what turned into CGTV, what we're doing now. We would do weekly videos promoting them, and we just did like the most wild concepts. There was one video where you died. You were defusing a bomb, and that one maybe is my favorite because it's like, warning, at the end of this video, Christopher Livingston dies.
One of my favorite, I mean, the summit videos were awesome.
Some videos are good.
Going to being on the intercom at Lowe's.
Oh, that was great.
Was pretty funny.
Mariah Carey karaoke.
Yeah, Mariah Carey karaoke. Obviously, some Billboard fun that we talk about sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
But additionally, obviously, the one that seems to always be brought up is the porta potty video.
Yeah.
Funny enough, so what happened was, and that story, Logan's out of the office.
Yeah, Logan's out of town.
Yeah, Logan's out of town, and we're sworn at our old office. And I think we're talking to Dan Sherwood. I think that's what it is. We're talking to Dan Sherwood, and he's a painter, right? And so, like, for whatever reason, painting is not as sexy as sometimes building like a brand new kitchen. Like, I mean, there's a big transformation as well, but people kind of see it as, you know, cutting the trim, you know, painting the walls, spraying maybe.
I could see how, like, you wouldn't see it as flashy.
Yeah,
yeah.
Exactly. It's not such a flashy service. So we're on this idea of, okay, gotcha. How can we do a promotional video? We're going to have Dan Sherwood talk about how he sells his non-flashy service. And I can't remember exactly how it all came to be, but one of my favorite core values at CGN is ask for forgiveness, not for permission. And so I always lean into that one heavy. And Logan's out of town, so I'm like, Aaron, I got the idea for this video. Let's shoot a video. How about I'm just like naked, busting out of a porta potty, like I'm trying to show like.
What we were gonna do is just have you be like naked and walking around, not naked.
Oh, what it was like I was gonna walk, because remember I went outside and I was like walking.
Yeah, you were just wandering around in like a public area.
Yeah, and people were just like, "What is going on?"
Yeah, basically just with a thong.
Yeah.
Like you had your shorts pulled up.
Oh man, it's funny. So I'm like walking around like a public, our public business park, per
Yeah.
se, where there's other professionals. I guess you can call me that if you want, but other people that are walking around, some like older people, younger people, different crowds, and I'm just walking around, and I think at the time the Van Gogh exhibit was going on.
Yeah.
So it was.
There's a bunch of like people just there for like visiting, and they're all dressed up nice and that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and so I'm just ridiculously dressed or undressed at the time, and so for whatever reason there was a little small minor construction site that was going on. So it was a porta potty that was there,
Yeah.
and so I don't know how it came about, but I remember being like, dude, we went to the office and I was like, I'm gonna do some push-ups. And I like did some push. I think I like probably tried to knock out really quickly 50 push-ups. And like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go outside.
It was probably more like 20, but yeah.
Probably 50. But we went outside and I was like, all right, let's do this. And I was like, I went to the porta potty. We started filming and I just busted out of the porta potty and I said,
We all know that sex sells.
we all know the sex sells. And I said it so loud, like
It peaks the mic.
it kicked the mic.
It's a
and it was
great
just-
video.
It was a funny video. And I remember when posting that, Jared Shaw gave me a call. Like, are you serious? You actually posted? I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, Logan's out of town. We'll let it ride.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the funniest videos that we've ever created. I'm super excited to get back into that. I mean, not necessarily being naked all the time, but
Yeah.
but getting more into us creating that cool dynamic of video, because it really is a marriage between like the video and the sales as well, kind of working together. We got some cool things to talk about soon. The contractor content conference. Different things going on at CGN, some thought model things as well. But I'm super excited. We have a video hopefully coming out soon. I'm actually going to speak into existence, talking more about sales and kind of, as you guys probably already know, I'm not sure if the battleground is still open for enrollment, but I know they were recently. And one of the things to talk about in any sales is talk about getting into like the understanding or the reasoning or the motive or things like that too. So we'll talk about some good ways to be able to get more from your customers.
Yeah.
The reasons why, because I talked with Connie about this recently, actually last week. But if at the end of your sales calls, if people are focusing on the money and not focusing on the transformation you're able to provide them, it's because you have not done a good enough job of actually getting into the actual reasoning or motive behind it. So
that's a video that's coming out.
it's a video. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for listening to today. Any final thoughts you have, kind of speaking to video and speaking to people kind of getting into this world?
I would just say don't let it scare you. A good place to start, The Visual Sale by Marcus Sheridan. This is what it looks like, hardcover or soft cover. And then it's also, is it on Audible?
I don't think it is just.
This one isn't on Audible, but it is worth the read. It's a quick read. The chapters are short, and it will show you, like, it will demystify video for you. So it's not that scary, and that's a good place to start.
All right, love it, guys. Well, I'll see you guys next week. For those who are part of our world already, who are already a client of CGN, don't forget that tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we actually have a sales, kind of selling from the website coaching call going on. See you guys there, and take care.